Hello, here we'll be talking about 2.6 combination of functions and composition of functions, and let's see what's the difference between them. We'll start with combination. Okay, so let's say I have two functions, f of x here, and here you have g of x. F of x is 2x minus 3 and g of x is x squared minus 1. Let's say that we want to find the sum. So f of x plus g of x, just take this function and this function and just add them. That means you're going to collect the like terms. X squared is the only term here, so write it alone. You have 2x also is the only term, so write it 2x. You have minus 3 and minus 1, that will give you minus 4. Okay, what if we want to subtract them? Take f of x minus g of x. So x squared is the only term, as I told you here, so you will bring it with its negative sign. 2 of x is also the only term, so put it here. Minus 3 minus minus 1 will give you minus 2. So this would be the difference. What if we're talking about the product? Just divide them. Let's say you have here 2x minus 3 and x squared minus 1. Once you want to multiply them, 2x minus 3, and here you have x squared minus 1. So start by multiplying. 2x times x squared will give you 2x cubed. 2x times negative 1 will give you negative 2x. Minus 3 times x squared will be minus 3x squared, and minus 3 times minus 1 will be positive 3. So this would be the product. If you want just to rearrange it here by bringing the negative 3x squared first and the 2x back, so that the power will be in ascending order. So this will be our product, and the quotient, just put them as fractions. If you cannot simplify it, just leave it. But there is one condition for the quotient, that g of x, or the denominator, must be different from 0. If the denominator must be different from 0, what would make the denominator here 0? If x is negative 1 or positive 1, because negative 1 squared will be 1. 1 minus 1 will give you this 0. And again 1 squared minus 1 will give you again the 0. So take care here, denominators always must be different from 0. So these are the sums that are given. This is the product, this is the formula for the sum, difference, product, and quotient. We already had the examples before. Okay. Alright, here I'll solve for you some examples. Let's say that it's given that f of x is 2x plus 1 and g of x is x squared plus 2x minus 1. Now I want to find f plus g of x. Then I want to find the value when x is 3. That means first let's talk about the sum. This is the sum. Okay, let's talk about f plus g of x. This would be 2x plus 1, which is the f, plus, because I'm talking about the sum, take the function of the g, which is x squared plus 2x minus 1. This is the g. Collect the like terms and add. Okay, here the only x squared is here, this one, and you have 2x plus 2x, you'll have 4x, and 1 and negative 1 will be 0. So the answer is going to be x squared plus 4x. So now what if you have f plus g, not of x, the value of x here will be 3. Okay, I'm talking about another sum now. So here instead of the x, you're going to replace what? 3. So here it's going to be 2 times something plus 1 plus something squared plus 2 times something minus 1. So whatever thing I'm calling here, something is the value of the x which we agreed on, it will be what? It's going to be 3. So put here 3, 3, 3. Now I'll start to simplify. 2 times 3 will give you 6 plus 1, and here you'll have 3 squared, which will be 9, plus 2 times 3 is 6, minus 1. So now you can just open the brackets and start on adding. 6 plus 1 is here 7, plus 9 plus 6 is 15. 15 minus 1 will be 14. So once you add 7 plus 14, you'll have 21. So this would be the sum. Alright, now let's talk about the difference. We're asked about f minus g of what? Of x. Alright, so same thing again. Take the f minus the g, which is here 2x plus 1. 2x plus 1 minus x squared plus 2x minus 1. Alright, so now let's start subtracting. 2x minus 2x will give you 0. And 1 minus minus 1 will be 1 plus 1, that will give you 2. And here minus x squared is alone, so it will be minus x squared plus 2. I think this color is not going to be a good one, so it will be minus x squared plus 2. This minus x squared came, 2x cancelled out with 2x, 1 minus minus 1 will give you 2. Okay, next thing, I have to copy the question first. What's f of x and what's g of x? Sorry, I'll look back. Okay, so f of x is 2x plus 1 and g of x is x squared plus 2x minus 1. Now let's see, where did we stop the last question? We're talking about the difference, but I still didn't replace with the x by 3. So now you'll do f minus g of 3. So just instead of x you can put your 3. Actually I need some space. I'm going to make my handwriting a little bit smaller because we still have lots of things to do. So again I'm putting brackets here, 2 times x, which is 3, plus 1, and for g of x, x squared, which is 3 squared, and 2x, which is 2 times 3 minus 1. Okay, here let me start. 2 times 3 will give you 6 plus 1 minus, this will be 9 plus 6 minus 1. 9, 3 squared is 9, 2 times 3 is 6 minus 1. Okay, let's start here. This 6 plus 1 will be 7 minus 9 plus 6 is 15. 15 minus 1 will give you 14. So 7 minus 14 will be negative 7. So the difference here is negative 7. Let's go to the next question. We've been asked to find the product. That means f of g of x. We'll do the same thing, just multiply. First let me put what is f of x, which is 2x plus 1, and what is my g of x. It will be x squared plus 2x minus 1. Just start to multiply, opening the bracket. 2x times x squared will give you 2x cubed, and 2x times 2x will give you 4x squared. 2x times negative 1 will be negative 2x. 1 times x squared will be x squared. 1 times 2x will be just 2x, and 1 times negative 1 will be minus 1. Now I can collect the like terms. 2x cubed is the only cubed term, write it. Okay, here you have 4x squared plus 1x squared, you'll have 5x squared. Minus 2x plus 2x will be cancelled out, you'll be left with minus 1 here. So this would be our product. Now what if you have f of g of not x, I'm sorry, of 3. That means I'm replacing the x by 3. Okay, it will be like, I'm going to do the same steps. Instead of x, I'm going to leave space, so that I'm going to write 3 inside this space. So here I replaced the spaces of x by 3's. So 2 times 3 will give you again 6 plus 1. This is in a bracket, times 3 squared is 9 plus 2 times 3 is 6 minus 1. Again here you have, this one is 7 times 14. So 7 multiplied by 14, you'll have 98. So the product here is 98. I've been checking that 7 by 14 is 98. Good. So we're done with the product. Now let's go to the what? To the quotient. So what if you have f over g of x? So I will write it here, f over g of x. Just put them as fractions. If you can to simplify, simplify, otherwise just leave it as a fraction. So it will be 2x plus 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 1. This cannot be simplified, so just leave it as it is. So this will be our quotient. What if you have f over g of what? Of 3 instead of x. So okay, you'll have here 2 times something over 1 something squared plus 2 times something minus 1. So that something, or that unknown value here, is supposed to be what? 3. I replace the 3. So it will be 6 plus 1 is 7 over here 9 plus 6 minus 1. You already know that it would be 14. So 7 over 14. The quotient will give you half. So these are some of the examples that I've been doing on combination of functions. Okay, let me see what's the idea here. It's talking about the same combination. By the way, I'm going to send you these slides. Okay, another way of composition. Now we're going to speak about composition of functions. So once we're talking about composition, this small circle is replacing, or it's like telling you about the composition. So it's not a multiplication, it's a composition here. Alright, so here we'll talk about f composition of g, or f of g of x. F of g of x, okay. You have here, what's the f? No, I don't know. Yeah, here you have what is f of x, and here what, you know, what is g of x. Let's see how to do the composition stuff. Yes. Okay. Composition of f with g is as follows. That means I want f of g of x. So this is going to be, this is your f of x and this is your g of x. So we will do like, I'm going to replace the g of x, this g of x, instead of what? Instead of this x. The whole g of x instead of this x. That means g will be inside the f. G will be inside the f. Here, so here we're going to write 4 minus x squared plus 2, because f of x is x plus 2. So take the whole g as I told you and put it inside this x. So it's going to be 4 minus x squared plus 2. Just open the bracket. It will be minus x squared. 4 plus 2 will give you plus 6. So this is our f of g of f of g of x. Yes. Okay, let's see the opposite. What if I want g of f of x? Sorry, x plus 2 4 minus x squared. Yes, 4 minus x squared. So what's my f of x? My f of x is x plus 2 and my g of x is 4 minus x squared. So I want g of f of x. That means you're going to do the opposite now. Instead of this x, you will bring the whole f here. So this is going to be g of f of x. So it will be an f inside the g. So what's the g? It is 4 minus x. So instead of this x squared, you're going to write the whole f of x, which is x plus 2. I hope you understood me. Here look, f is inside g. So inside this g you have an x. Replace instead of this x the whole f. Okay, so it will be 4 minus. You have to open this square by using a perfect square. Don't forget what's the rule for perfect square. If you have x plus y the whole squared, it will be x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. So here, applying this rule, perfect square, it will be x squared plus 2 times x will give you 4x plus 2 squared is 4. Now if you open the bracket, you'll have 4 minus x squared minus 4x minus 4. This 4 will go with this 4, so what will be left is minus x squared minus 4x. Good. So now here you have a note that f composition of g of x is different or not equal to g of f of x, though they are totally different. Okay. I'll give you a couple of questions that I want you to try by yourself. Okay, here you're asked to find f of g of x, and in the second one you're asked to find g of f of x. So question A is f of x equals to x squared and g of x equals to x minus 1. B, f of x equals to cubic root of x minus 1, while g of x is x cubed plus 1. So try these questions. If you have any doubts, please contact me or just ask me.